Greetings, captains, and welcome to this Prepar3D video. I thought it would be a good time for me to switch gears and do this video. We are currently situated at stand Charlie 24 at Denver International Airport, and today we're going to be flying to Jackson Hole. Our approximate flight time today is 1 hour and 25 minutes, and we're going to be cruising at flight level 350 for this flight. I am using the Orbex North America region, which is the enhanced Orbex region for North America. It's the OpenLC, but it is the new one. I believe it has received an update. And let me tell you, I'm very impressed with this Orbex scenery. By far one of the best Orbex regions to date. Of course, for the weather today, we're using Active Sky 2016, and without further ado, let us jump into the flight deck and prepare the aircraft for departure. Alright, let's get started here, and first thing first, battery on, emergency lights armed, left forward fuel pump on, and let's start the APU. We'll wait for the EGT to rise. Now, according to the weather forecast, the weather conditions aren't very good at Jackson Hole at the moment. Hopefully things will improve and the bad weather will subside by the time we arrive. Okay, the APU is now available. APU gen is on. Let's go to the IRS and set it on nav. Yaw damper goes on, and everything else here is fine. Right, non-smoking signs, passenger signs can go on, window heat can go on, and that goes there. Everything else here is okay. Right, let's set our altitude today to 35,000 feet. There we go, that's done. And everything else here is fine. Alright, so we can go ahead and start programming the FMC. Alright, so first thing first, let us add fuel. Now for the trip, I think we need 6,000 pounds. I believe that's what it was in the flight plan, but I'm just going to set 1/3 and accept the values. Okay, let's put this down and enter IRS position. FMC, position initialization. We are at Kilo Delta Echo November. And the IRS is now aligned. Let's go to route. And we're going to go to Jackson Hole, which is Kilo Juliet Alpha Charlie. And activate and execute. Alright, let's go to departure page. Today we're going to be departing runway 34 right through the Yami 3 departure. And execute. Route. Nope. No. We need to do the arrival. So we're arriving runway 19, and we're going to do through the Juliet Alpha Charlie transition, and we'll say execute. Let's go to the next page real quick, and everything looks fine. And you know what? I'm going to try to put a fix on runway 19. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I'm going to try it. So if I say RW 19. It worked. I'm not sure if this can be done in the real world and the real FMC. I'm not sure if this is a bug or this is possible, but maybe one of the flying pilots watching will let us know. So I'm going to put a 20 nautical mile radius for situational awareness. Okay, let's go to performance initialization, and this is our 0 fuel today, and reserves, we'll just put 1 there. And cost index is 35. What happened there? Okay, 35. There we go. And we're going to be cruising at flight level 350. Transition altitude in the United States is 18,000 feet. And one limit. There we go. And takeoff. Flaps 5 for departure. And center of gravity, we can just grab it. That gives us today a trim of 5.05. Okay, let's set our trim. 5.03, that's close enough. Alright, let's see here. We are pretty much good to go. Let's set the flight director on. And we need to grab our speed, which is 143. That is done. And our altitude is 35,000 feet. There is a restriction. As we depart Denver, we need to be below 10 and then below 11, but the FMC will take care of it for us. Alright, we are pretty much good to go. Let's go ahead and set the parking brake and go to ground connections and remove everything. And now we need to do one more thing. We need to close the door. Okay, so door is closing now. And let's start the anti-collision light. Okay, anti-collision light is turned on. And alright, so let's start our fuel pumps. Everything else here. And now we can call the pushback truck and dismiss the jetway. Alright, so let's just make sure it's moving away. Yes, it is. And now we can call the pushback truck. Prepare for pushback and departure. And the nose should be to the left.
Flight deck, this is ground crew. Stand by for pushback.
Okay.
Captain, ground crew here. Departure check is complete. No gear steering is connected. Bypass bin is observed. Release parking brakes.
Okay, let's release the parking brake.
Okay, here we go. We are clear behind the aircraft and safety start engine at your discretion.
Alright, we have a clearance to start our engines, so let's start with engine number 2 first. Okay, we'll wait for this to reach about 24. There we go, that's good enough. Alright, and let's go ahead and start engine number 1. Alright, that's good enough, and let's give it some fuel. Okay, and looks like we have a good start on both engines, so gens are on. And now we can turn on the pitot packs, installation valve on auto, APU bleed off. Alright, parking brake set. APU is off. Let's see here, taxi lights. And those can remain for the moment. Yeah, all is good. Engine to continuous. All is good. We are ready to go. Auto brake on rejected takeoff. And let's set our flaps. In normal circumstances, I think the taxi lights should not be turned on until...
And Captain, left is clear, right is clear. We're all clear behind the aircraft.
Thank you. The taxi lights should not be turned on until after the pushback truck moves away, as you can really blind the marshaller with the taxi lights, the position of the taxi lights on the landing gear, especially at night, I think. Okay, so we'll just wait for the pushback truck to move out of our way, and we will begin taxi to runway 34 right. Alright, the pushback truck is now away, and we can begin our taxi. Release parking brake, and let's just give it a little bit of power. And now we begin rolling. Alright, we shouldn't be too far from the runway now. In fact, the runway is right over there. You can see the PAPI lights now. Okay, that is a good time for us to engage the autothrottle. And just do quick preparation on everything. Runway turn off lights are on. Just make one final stop here right before departure to do a final check on everything. Okay, that's perfectly okay to stop here and set the parking brake. All right, everything here, packs are on. APU bleed off, APU is off, and alright, our takeoff lights are on, taxi lights are off, strobes can go on, engine ignition on continuous, flaps 5, and auto brake on rejected takeoff. All is okay. Let's go ahead and depart Denver. Okay, no aircrafts incoming. Both sides are clear. Alright, and we are now lined up with runway 34 right. Let's go. knots. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. And let's keep 10-degree pitch as we climb. Okay, and let's begin retracting the flaps now. Okay, we are 1,000 feet above the airport elevation, so let's go ahead and look VNAV, LNAV, and engage the autopilot. Just look at that scenery. Right, that can go to off. Landing gear is up and locked. And now we can retract the flaps. Flaps are retracted. And engine ignitions can go to off now. Well, we are continuing our climb. There is, of course, a restriction. We need to be below 10,000 feet. We have just actually reached 10,000 feet and cleared the first restriction. So the lights can go off. Alright. So we will continue to climb to, I think, 11,000 is the second restriction. Then there is 12,000, and then we are clear for 35,000 feet. Folks, this scenery is really nice. I really like it a lot. It looks very realistic. So if you are contemplating which Orbex region to buy next, I think it should be the new version of the North America Open LC, the new version. It looks absolutely fantastic. And quite surprisingly, it's easy on the frames as well. There we go. We are now passing flight level 120. Just about. Yeah, we're going to level off at 12,000 until we clear this waypoint, and then we are cleared for 35,000 feet. There we go. I think we're going to begin the climb now. There we go, yeah. And now we're cleared for 35,000 feet, and everything should be pretty standard from this point forward. Let's take a quick look. Yeah. So, yeah, we're pretty much fine. We'll reach 35,000, and soon after, actually, we will begin our descent. So these are, we have quite a bit of restrictions as we reach our destination. But we'll worry about all of that once we are closer to our destination. I really enjoy P3D. I think it is a great sim, and every time I fly in P3D, I find something that I like. The only thing that is somewhat of a drawback, in my opinion, is the VAS issue. The VAS issue is very upsetting for me. There were a lot of videos that I've done, by the way, in P3D where I have ran out of VAS, and so I had to, you know, just throw the video out. In the past, I used to test the route that I do, so I would actually fly the route once to test for any VAS issues, and then do another flight, the same flight, for the video recording. And I just recently, with everything else that's going on in my life, I just don't have the time to do this twice. This is probably the main reason why I tend to use X-Plane more. It's a 64-bit application, and you know, I don't have to worry about VAS issues and things like that. I just focus on the flight and really enjoying the immersion level that the sim gives. So we are at 18,000 feet, and now we need to set barrel reference to standard, which we have now done, and we continue our climb steadily to 35,000 feet. So folks, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you enjoy the flight, relax, and I will see you at 35,000 feet. Enjoy the flight. Okay, so we are about to level off at 35,000 feet, which is our final cruising altitude today. And everything appears to be normal at the moment. There we go. Okay, I think we're leveling off now. I really like this Orbex region. I highly recommend it. I really wish that Orbex would start development for X-Plane, because I think their product is absolutely fantastic. And the other department where I really like in P3D is the Rex product lines, the Soft Clouds and Rex Texture Direct. I think it really increases the level of immersion into this sim. So hopefully we'll see those companies start development for X-Plane very soon, though I haven't read anything that indicate that. Okay, I'm going to increase. Ooh, look at that. Okay. I came across a very interesting fact a few days ago. Now, all passenger airlines, the windows on passenger airlines are curved, and it appears that there is a reason why the passenger windows are curved. Now, most jetliners fly at altitudes higher than 30,000, so they go to 35, sometimes to 40,000 feet. And the difference between the pressure inside the cabin as it gets pressurized above 10,000 feet and the atmospheric pressure outside actually causes the aircraft to expand a little bit. And when that expansion happens with square windows, the air does not flow smoothly around the edges of the windows, and that causes a lot of stress on the fuselage, which in some cases have actually caused the fuselage to crack. And so aircraft engineers did some analysis, and they found out that by just changing the design of the passenger window to have curved edges, that problem would be solved. It is very interesting to see how aviation has developed over the years and how things have been improved and how different technologies and innovations have been brought into this industry. A lovely view here from the cockpit at 35,000 feet, and as you can see, there are a lot of clouds coming ahead. Looks like the weather at Jackson Hole isn't going to be pretty. So anyway, all is well, and I will see you guys right before our approach to begin preparing for our approach and landing at Jackson Hole. Welcome back, folks. We are now approximately, let's see here. We are about 40 nautical miles from top of descent, so we need to actually begin our descent at 26,000. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reset the MCP altitude to 26,000. There we go. And I'm going to do a level change, and that will help us descend to 26,000 now. So when we reach the top of descent mark, we will be able to descend from 26,000 and all the way through these restrictions. I've turned on the terrain map as well, as this area is a mountainous area. Absolutely gorgeous scenery. Alright, so I think we should be fine. We'll stabilize at 26, and once we are at 26,000 we will engage VNAV again. Alright, this is a good time for us to start configuring the aircraft for our approach. So let's grab the frequency. So 109.10 is the ILS frequency. So 109.10, and we'll set this to the active. We'll do the same thing on the other side, 109.10. Oops. 10, set it to the active frequency. No, that's not right. 109. It is the active frequency. Okay. So 109. That one isn't correct. Alright, so now it is correct. Okay, and the course is 187. So let's set the course to 187. There we go. And the same thing on the other side. Alright, so we are good now. And we are coming to our top of descent point. Now for our approach today, we have a short runway, and the weather conditions aren't that great according to the weather forecast that I've just consulted. So I think what we're going to do is, okay, let me engage VNav at this point. Okay, it says reset the MCP altitude, so we will set it to 15,200, and then we'll let the aircraft take us there. Let's see here. Looks like we've begun 13 nautical miles until top of descent. Okay. Yeah, so everything's fine. Okay, we do have a short runway, and the weather isn't that great, so we're going to do flaps 40 today for our approach. So let's go ahead and do that. 40 and 134 plus 5 for wind correction. That gives us a final VREF today of 139 knots. That goes there, and now we're pretty much ready for our approach. Okay, everything else appears to be okay. Yeah, all is well now, and we just wait for about 6 nautical miles before we begin our descent. As you can see, this area is a mountainous area. So what we're going to be doing actually is, it's still to, let me just bring this. We're going to come here at Delta November Whiskey. We're going to make a turn right here, and then make a turn here, come back all the way, and make this maneuver over here, come back and land on the runway. That's the fix that we've created in the beginning. And let's see here. Alright, so we haven't begun the descent, so I'm going to do a level change. Okay. Not sure why the auto descent did not initiate. But that's fine. We'll just do a level change now. So we should be fine. Let's check our altitude. So we need to be, yeah, I think we are fine. Alright, so we are coming up to our turn where we will perform a series of maneuvers before we actually land. Let me check here for... Alright, so we are at 11 nautical miles from the next waypoint, and our altitude is 21,000 feet, so we're fine. Yeah, we should be fine. And we're still maintaining 279 knots. Alright, we're coming up to 18,000 feet. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start reducing the speed to 250 knots. And we are going to be reaching our transition altitude momentarily. Alright, so we have reached our transition altitude. And let's go ahead and set our altimeter. Very heavy clouds in the vicinity here. I really like the clouds in P3D. I think they look very realistic. And with Active Sky 2016, I think it looks even better. I'm going to reduce the range here so we can see exactly what's happening. We're still fine, and we continue to descend. We're at 250 knots. Let me check one thing here. Yeah, so at the next waypoint we need to reduce speed to 230 knots, and we're not too far from the next one. We're about 10 nautical miles. So I'm going to go ahead now and reduce speed to 230 knots, and that will allow the aircraft some time to decelerate to the desired speed. Looks like visibility is going to be an issue as we approach Jackson Hole. Okay, here's the turn. By the way, this is the runway right here. See that circle there? That is the runway, so we are actually pretty close. The runway is somewhere over there. We can't see it though due to this really terrible weather. Right, we're about 1,000 from 15,200, and our speed is now 230 knots. So we're doing extremely well at the moment. All is good. Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, so we are clearing this now. We're entering into the next waypoint, and we need to be at 15.2, which we will be. And from that point forward, we will maintain 15,200 until we reach the following next point. Now, those three waypoints here, we need to be at 13.1, above 13.1. So as you can see, there are some mountains here. It's a tricky approach into Jackson Hole, and hopefully we'll be able to make it safely on the runway. I haven't done this approach in the past, so we'll see. I can tell you that the weather is going to be absolutely terrible. Okay, so we are at 230 approximately, 15,200. That's where we need to be at. So all is good at the moment. Okay, now I'm gonna reset this to 13,100. Now I'm gonna start reducing our speed to 210 knots. Now I'm gonna do a level change. And as soon as we reach 210 knots, the aircraft will start pitching down to descent. Visibility is almost zero. We can't see a thing. Absolutely nothing. And at the next waypoint, at the next three waypoints, we need to be at 13,100. There is also another restriction at 11,000, and then that's it. From there we will intercept the localizer and begin our descent into the runway. So we are okay, we're doing just fine at the moment. Alright folks, we are coming to our little maneuver here, and the aircraft has now begun the turn. As you can see, the visibility is dreadful. So this is a situation where you need to completely rely on your instruments for navigation, approach, and landing. So we can't really see anything out of the window. So we are going to maintain 13,100. But I'm going to go ahead and reset the MCP altitude to 9,700. Alright, I will leave it there. And at this point I'm going to engage the approach button. Yeah, we do have the indicator, the localizer indicator here. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to reduce speed to 180 knots. Alright, and let's begin a level change. And let's do flaps 5. There we go. Now we can see a little bit of the area ahead of us. So we'll stay at flaps 5. We have intercepted the localizer. As you can see, the aircraft is now adjusting to line up with the runway. And we need to be above 11,000 for the next 8.3 nautical miles, which I think we should be fine. We're almost there now. And that's the ring that we've created, the 20 nautical mile ring that we've created in the beginning, our fix. So we know once you hit this green line, we'll be 20 nautical miles away from the runway. So yes, we should be just fine for our approach. All is well at the moment. I'm going to set this to max. As we do have a short runway, and as we previously decided, we'll do flaps 40 for our approach. I'm going to bring my throttle quadrant back to about the midpoint, about 30%, so that when we disengage the autothrottle, the speed won't just jump. Alright, and we are now coming down to 10,000 feet. Alright, good time to... Actually not those, but those. So we'll turn all these lights. And everything else appears to be fine. So we should have been at 1100, above 1100. But that's perfectly fine. We are approaching Jackson Hole now, and the visibility isn't probably going to help us. So I assume that we're probably not going to have the runway in sight before 1,000 feet, just from how the weather looks. It should be okay. So let's just do one final check. Our final approach speed is going to be 139 knots, and the altitude is fine. We are at flaps 5. Auto brake is on max for this approach. Alright, so the needle started moving now. Okay, so we're going to reduce our speed now to 150 knots. And we're going to do flaps 15 and gear down.
Radio altimeter.
Okay, we are pretty close now, folks. Let me just check. Okay, so this is the runway. We're pretty close to the runway. We're about, what, 7-8 nautical miles? Yeah. Okay, what I'll do now is I will go to flaps 25. And I will reduce the speed to 145 knots. Okay, let's arm the, you know what, let me just help reduce our speed a bit. Alright, so we need to arm the speed brake. Alright, I can see the runway now. We have the runway in sight. Okay, let's go ahead and reduce the speed to our approach speed of 139 knots. And at this point we'll do flaps 30. Almost there now.
1,000.
1,000 feet. Let's do flaps 40. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and disengage the autopilot and auto throttle, and I will take over.
$100, $50, $30, $20, $10.
And touchdown. And welcome to Jackson Hole, Captains. It's a good thing that we put the brakes on max. As you can see, we almost shot the runway. It's a very short runway. Well, the landing wasn't that great, I have to admit. All right, let's go ahead and kill the lights. Those can go on, off. Taxi is on, and strobes can go off. Well, overall, it was a fun flight. It was a bit of a difficult approach, I must say, with the wind. And it's a short runway, so I think we can park there. Should be all right. Perfect. Right, let's set the parking brake. And kill the fuel. Alright folks, well I hope that you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other. I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.